Well, hello, eighth grade, and welcome back. I'm Ms. McFadden, and I'm your eighth grade counselor. As we started this journey 3 years ago when you was in sixth grade, and I want to be the first to welcome you to a new school year. This is going to be an exciting year full of new and challenging things to explore. This year is going to look so different from any other year, but I promise you, you will really enjoy eighth grade. I'm so excited to get you ready for high school because high school is an exciting place. And I can't wait to hear some of your stories when you come back to see us. This year is going to go by incredibly fast. So let's start this year off really strong. Today, we will begin our first lesson of Wildcat Wellness. This is a school-wide program that gives you the opportunity to learn about your classmates, build community, and most importantly, improve your grades. As you are building relationships with others in your group, Wildcat Wellness will give you the opportunity to think critically on ways to overcome challenges, explore your personal values, and learn some tips on how you can maintain a healthy friendship. Every Tuesday will be Wildcat Wellness. And our group talks are an important way of bringing the class together, learning so many things about each other as we discuss really important topics in second step and real life issues that our community is facing. Our goal as counselors is to include all students to be a part of our Griffin community and support each other while we experience this virtual learning journey. You can easily find information on how to see a counselor on our counselor's blog. Go to the Griffin website and you can find counselors under resources. You will be able to find our email address and our Google voice numbers. Keep your eyes open for small groups because it is a really important way for you to get to know your peers and to learn how to support each other. Before we get started, let's establish some rules to our group. Rule number 1, please be respectful when someone else is speaking. Rule number 2, remember positive vibes only. Number 3, it's okay to pass if you can't think of something. We'll come back to you at the end. We will go in a virtual circle, going one student at a time, and we'll go in order. Only students with the virtual talking piece can speak. Y'all ready? Okay, let's get started with lesson number 1. As we answer the questions, we'll go in order, one student at a time. The first thing that I want you guys to do is I want you to tell us what your first name is. Let's look at the warm-up questions together. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. And we're going to look at the very first activity. Normally we'll get into pairs, but now we're at home and we're studying virtually. We're going to answer these questions individually. So I want you to think to yourself, what is your favorite game, book, or movie when you were 5? Then you grew up a little bit and I want you to think about what was your favorite game, book when you were 8. And then I want you to think about when you were 11. And we're going to think about how about now. Okay? So teacher can pause the video as you discuss these questions. All right, we'll start with our very first video in second step. And this is the first topic that we'll discuss. I want you to pay close attention to the video because we're going to have a class discussion at the end.
You've changed a lot since you were 5 years old, but you knew that already. We all change and keep changing throughout our whole lives. When you're a teenager, the changes are intense. Your body and mind are changing more dramatically than when you were a toddler learning to walk. Your physical growth means you're bigger, stronger, and faster, with greater motor control. Your brain is growing, which means you're getting better at a lot of things very quickly. You think more logically, critically, and abstractly. You learn skills and memorize facts faster than most adults. This rapid, uneven brain development also makes your emotions and thoughts more complex. So how do these changes affect your life? We asked teens to tell us in their own words.
And the girls just
difficult class hanging out with people arguing like on one hand.
I think I've become a lot more cynical. I think I point out a lot more things that I dislike or that I think are irrational. And I think in a very logical way.
The connections between my friends and I are a lot deeper than a few years ago. We connect more about our common interests, and the way I think about myself is probably less than what it was earlier, because self-esteem has been different than elementary school, because people didn't really care that much.
Just having feeling all these emotions, because everything matters so much more, and the simplest things make you happy, and the simplest things make you just so sad.
You're well, if you didn't look at that person and say hi, are you guys friends anymore? It's extreme stuff like that.
Making sure that I don't have that gut emotional reaction can be difficult.
Since I've become a teenager, I feel like I've been more defiant now. I'll talk back to my mom, even though I know that's a bad thing. I don't see it as that.
When I realized that I had a bit of a different self-identity, that it affected the way that I perceived myself in the earlier years that I realized it. So there was a lot of internal struggle that took a toll on my mental health, and that took a toll on everything in my life.
I have a lot more freedom than I did, and so I can make decisions to, spend time doing things that I want to do, unsupervised things, and that's a really nice feeling.
Being a teenager, you're more likely to try new things, whether those things are good for you or not. But a lot of people don't take the time to stop and think about what they're doing.
I think one of the best parts about being a teenager is I have a lot of nervous energy, and a lot of it's bad, but a lot of it's really good nervous energy. And it's I have a lot I can do that's in front of me, and I'm excited for it, and the world seems really, really big.
Yes, these are some really real life situations, and I know you can relate to it. Let's move into the discussion questions. So, as a class, I want us to talk about what are some of the typical changes people experience during their adolescence. So you're in your adolescence, you're in the prime of your adolescent years. So I really want you to think about what are some changes that you're going through during this time, and let's discuss it as a class. Teacher, you can pause the video. All right, let's move on to partner share. Normally, if we was in a classroom, we would pair up with someone in the classroom, but now that we're at home learning virtually, we're going to answer these questions individually. So I want you to think about these two questions. What's your favorite thing about being a teenager? And then I want you to think about what's your least favorite thing, okay? And we'll go around and we'll answer those two questions. Teacher, you can pause the video. Let's move ahead to the second video. And in the second video, it explains a lot about what is SEL and what we're going to be learning for the next couple of weeks. So let's dive into it.
Your brain and body are changing, and right now you have a new kind of passion and energy. This can help you develop your talents and skills in powerful ways. All this change you're experiencing can also make life stressful. You may think more critically and may be more aware of your thoughts, but that means you can easily get caught up in your own mind. Your intense emotions and complex thinking can actually make it difficult for you to recognize other people's feelings, and this can lead to misunderstanding and conflict. Being a teenager today comes with other stresses too. The world is changing, maybe more dramatically than ever. School is different for you than it was for your teachers and parents. You're facing issues other generations didn't have to think about. You see and hear about problems of injustice and suffering that are hard to ignore, especially when they affect you directly. But there are ways to navigate this time in your life. Decades of research have shown that social emotional learning, or SEL, the process of learning skills to get along with other people and manage your emotions, helps people feel better about themselves and find success in school and at work. For example, a 2017 analysis of more than 97,000 students showed that those who received an SEL program were more successful academically than their peers who didn't. The Second Step program is an SEL curriculum that teaches skills and strategies that can help you direct your passion and energy in ways that are meaningful to you. The lessons provide time and space for you to think through some of the challenges you face and explore how to do the things you want to do. You'll learn skills that research has shown to be effective and come up with your own ideas for how to embrace and navigate all the change you're experiencing. So, what skills and strategies will you be learning exactly? Developing your interests and passions, setting and achieving your goals, handling changing relationships, managing your thoughts and emotions, dealing with conflicts. These are skills everyone needs. They're also skills anyone can learn and get better at. Developing your social emotional skills now builds a foundation for the rest of your life. These skills can help you succeed in middle school, navigate your transition to high school, and direct your energy later in your life, so you can achieve what you want for yourself and for the world. Welcome to Social Emotional Learning and the Second Step program.
So let's move into the survey. And it's going to talk a little bit about what skills you're going to learn in Second Step. So it goes over what was just talked about in the video. So we're going to, as time go on, we're going to learn to develop what our interests and passions are. And that takes a little time, and that's a part of growing and learning. We're going to set and achieve goals along the way. We're going to learn how to handle changing relationships, because your relationships are going to change frequently in middle school and in life. So you got to know how to handle that. We have to learn how to manage our thoughts and emotions. And we have to learn how to deal with conflict, because conflict does not go away. So let's look at activity 1. The Second Step program is designed to be practical and fun, but some activities may bring up some really strong opinions and emotions. So this is what I want everyone to do individually. I want you to brainstorm 3 norms you think will help everyone feel safe and comfortable while we go through these Second Step lessons. I know you're thinking, what is a norm? So let's go over what the definition of what is a norm. These are guidelines for how people are expected to behave in a particular setting. Okay? So we're going to brainstorm 3 norms, and we're going to write them in our notebook. And we're going to discuss them as a class. Teacher can pause the video. Let's move on to our second activity. So we already brainstormed 3 norms and we've written them down. But from those 3 norms, I want you to choose what your best norm is, okay? Then as a class, we'll discuss what your best norm is. And we're gonna use this to build some rules or some guidelines we're gonna follow as we go through these second step lessons, okay? So we're gonna choose our best norm and we're gonna write that down in our notebook. All right, we're gonna wrap up everything that we've learned from this lesson. So from our norms, we brainstormed what 3 norms are. Then out of those 3 norms, we chose one best one. We talked about that as a class, and we're gonna choose our best norms and we're gonna create a poster. And we're gonna hang this poster in our virtual classroom. And we're gonna always look at those norms when we meet on Tuesday and when we go over our second step lesson. Okay. I hope you enjoyed your very first lesson in SEL. You're gonna learn quite a bit. And I'm really excited to be the counselor that went over this lesson with you. We're gonna have an awesome school year, an awesome 8th grade year. And I'll see you guys next week.